Chris Salvador with a sequel buzz review, Anaram, which will be probably split into many parts, for Pixar new film Up. I saw this in Disney Digital 3D, and I just have to say, down, D-O-W-N, did not like Up. It was disappointing to me, and I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, 3D, aside from seeing Beowulf in 3D, which I really loved, the prospect of Beowulf in 3D, it depends where you sit, because sometimes if you sit straight into it, you're not going to see the kind of lying aspect of this is 3D. It's moving outward. So what you're going to end up seeing is a lot of depth. Depending on how big your screen is, it's going to be a lot of depth. It's going to look amazingly digital, and the picture's going to be clear. But what it's going to look like, and I think Roger Ebert's right, if you have a chance, see this on the biggest screen available. I'm burping here. See this in the biggest screen available, but see it in 2D if you can, because 3D, there's really nothing about it that I was like, there was nothing about the 3D with computer animation, and even with other movies, that I'm curious to see what Avatar does with 3D. And I don't feel Beowulf did this. I guess maybe that was because of the motion capture. I don't know why, but Beowulf was awesome in 3D. I always feel like I like 3D. I get 3D. I understand why they want to do that, but at the same time, you're going, it's just a cool way of being an animator. It's a cool way of sitting in front of a computer and going, hey, you know those trees that don't matter? Look at them. There's depth to them. So, you know what I mean? Like who cares? Like, you don't remember it when you leave the theater, the depth. You don't, you like it. You like that option of, wow, there's space between that character and that character. You like that the house feels like you're inside of a computer and you're looking at it from, wow, everything that these animators spent it's like, wow, they spent hours animating every single thing that's in the movie and taking those little digits and those zeros, and now you get to actually, it's like they get to step out and say, hey, look at the cloud. It's kind of out there. Look at that. And it doesn't, the lighting, just doesn't feel, I don't know, it's just something about it, is that I'm curious to see what Avatar is. I'm curious to see what doing, I don't know, it just didn't work for me, the 3D. I didn't care, and I felt it was overpriced, and it just didn't really add anything to my experience. I felt it really annoyed a lot of the children. It really did, like the sense that they had to sit that long wearing those glasses. It just felt, Real D is great, but I just felt like some movies just shouldn't be 3D, and there really is no real reason to make it 3D other than just to put 3D, and this is one of those movies where you don't really need 3D. It's nice, I'm sure, for the animator it was cool, but getting into this story, who cares? I mean, really, I don't want to cuss here, but who cares? Like, when I was watching them, I mean, Partly Cloudy was an awesome short. I was blown away by that. I loved Partly Cloudy. But then this movie starts, and you're right, the opening of this movie is a very, I think it was wrong in a way to kill off Elise, his wife. I just felt like I like that they were doing that grown-up theme, and there's a lot of awe, you fell in love, and the years went by, and many people say that alone would be a really great short film. Is the story about this man and this wife, and how they never went on an adventure, and how she dies, and now he's all alone in the world. And you're like, and then the movie starts, and who cares? Who gives a shit? Because it's interesting to note that this is supposed to be called the spirit of, the thing is called the spirit of adventure. And that's what this is. It's a spirit of adventure. It's not adventure. And as I was watching this, I was like, man, it probably would have, this, like, the aesthetic is like, it's a little Spielbergian. There's a lot of Miyazaki, wannabe Miyazaki, and I know the Lasseter and friends, they love his stuff. There's a lot of Miyazaki. Russell is like a wannabe Miyazaki Chinese character. Is he Korean? Is he not? He's so beyond unnecessary, I felt. I didn't care about this character. It was just a Korean. I dug the dog. You know, I just didn't give a shit. You know, and I'm not trying to be the mean guy. I love Pixar. It's funny, every time I record something, maybe, you know, it says that I hate the movies. I didn't like Cars out of Our Bug's Life. And Up is so original in a way, but it's so... I think the biggest problem with this movie is that it's not an adventure. I'm sorry. It's like, this movie is not adventure to me. It's not. Indiana Jones. When you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, go back and watch that. That's an adventure. That's adventure. See that movie to get a feel for what an adventure is. This, you know, it started it's and look at any of the Miyazaki animated movies, and that's, wow, the scope, the care, it's so disturbing. The old people are disturbing, but they're gigantic, and then you are blown away by Miyazaki because you go, somebody had to draw that, and they decided to draw it that way, and it's like nothing I've ever seen, and the characters, and things happen, and it's so, and with Up, you're like, it's not the same, because it's a computer, and you've already done this with The Incredibles. This could have really been The Incredibles. This literally was No Manison Island from Syndrome. Without Syndrome, without The Incredibles, without any of the love or the adventure of The Incredibles, and some old guy in a house with balloons showing up with a wannabe Miyazaki character, and two creatures. I mean, the worst thing they have to encounter is a bunch of talking dogs who do, even the main villain dog is not a threat. When I was watching the story, I'm like, who cares? This is not a threat. An adventure is a threat. There is a threat going on. Something is going to kill them. I know no dog is going to eat this guy alive.